Hello, and welcome to Delivering Real-Time Coaching in Response to Risky User Behavior with SecurityCoach. Whew, that is a mouthful, but it is an extremely important topic. My name is Keith Ward. I'm from Actual Tech Media, and I'm excited to be your moderator for this special event. Before we get started, I wanted to cover a few housekeeping items that will help you get the most out of this special event. First off, we want this to be an informative event for you. So we encourage any questions in the questions box in your webinar control panel. Now, you've already been using that to kind of tell us where you're logging in from today. And it's exciting to see you folks from Northwest Indiana, Irmo, South Carolina, Denver, St. Louis, Dallas, Georgia, Jackson, Mississippi, Massachusetts, basically all over the place. Thanks so much for coming. So we encourage any questions for our special guest in the webinar control panel in the little questions tab there. We will have team members responding to questions during the live event, but there will also be a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the presentation where our expert will take some of the top questions that you ask. Now, that Q&A panel that you're using is also the place to let us know about any technical issues you might be experiencing. A browser refresh will fix most audio, video, and slide advancement issues. But if that doesn't work, let us know in the Q&A and we will get you some help ASAP. All right, next up, in the handouts section of your webinar control panel, next to that questions tab, you'll find numerous resources that you should check out. I'd especially like to call your attention to the first item, which is a link to a guide for getting started with KnowBe4, our sponsor today. Other goodies in the handouts section include a link to the Gorilla Guide Book Club, where you can get access to Actual Tech Media's huge library of printed resources on technology topics, as well as a link to the ATM Events Center, which has our calendar of upcoming events. Third, at the end of today's webinar, we'll be awarding a $250 Amazon gift card to one lucky registrant. Of course, you must be in attendance during the live event to qualify for the prize. The official terms and conditions for the prize drawing can be found in the handouts section. And finally, one of the best things about this event and all Actual Tech Media events is the opportunity to ask questions of our presenters. Now, to help encourage those questions, we have a special additional prize for you. That's another Amazon gift card, this one for $50 for the best question. At the end of the event, we will look at all the questions that come in, pick out the very best one, and contact that prize winner. So with that out of the way, let's get to today's awesome content. I'm really excited about this. It is my pleasure to introduce you to our presenter, Jeffrey Galinas, Product Manager with KnowBe4. Jeffrey, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's demo of SecurityCoach. My name is Jeffrey Galinas. I'm a product manager here at KnowBe4. And today I'll be showing you how to deliver real-time coaching in response to risky user behavior that's occurring in your environment. So maybe you're a little bit familiar about KnowBe4 in general, but we are a simulated phishing and awareness training platform. But right now we are going to be covering our new product offering of SecurityCoach. And with SecurityCoach, you're able to use things that already exist inside of your security stack to deliver real-time coaching to your users based on their own real-world behavior. So as users are going about their day-to-day, your security stack is already likely alerting you to some potential risky behaviors that your users are doing, and maybe you're taking action on some of those, maybe a few of those, but definitely probably not all of those as they come into your SOC or your SOAR system. But what we'll be able to do here, and what I'll demo, is that we'll be able to build custom campaigns for your particularly high-risk users or roles, as well as just all of your organization in terms of your security policies. And from that, we'll reduce the burden on your SOC and improve the automation and reduce alert noise that you're seeing inside of your environment and coach those users as we go through this demo. So how exactly does it work? Well, that's a great question. So I'll get into it here in this diagram over on the right-hand side. Kind of shows you the flow of the risky user behavior that is happening within your security stack vendors. We're going to connect over an API to whether it's an endpoint vendor, email or web vendor, as well as maybe even identity provider, SIEM or SOAR product. And from that, we'll ingest that information into SecurityCoach, and SecurityCoach will have detection rules, which we'll get into in the demo just shortly here. And those detection rules will be able to determine the best opportunity to coach your user in real time on the risky behavior that they're engaging in or may have been exposed to if the security product did not stop it. So once that's detected and matches the detection rule, we're going to go ahead and send a message to that user over Slack, Teams, or email as a part of that workflow there to coach the user in real time. What are we sending to the user? Well, we are actually going to be sending a security tip to the user, and we do have a very large catalog of security tips. We have over 200 that are pre-built, different templates that correspond to the different security topics that are covered. We have over 60 different security topics that are covered here, and they are also templates that are localized in 34 plus languages. All right. So from that, I am going to get off of the slide deck here, and I'll move right into the console and demo some of the features and functionality inside of SecurityCoach. All right, so you should be seeing my screen here now. And right now I'm inside of the KMSAT platform for any of you that are current customers. So SecurityCoach is an additional product that's available for our Platinum and Diamond customer subscription levels. And you'll see that inside of your existing KMSAT console here, or if you're a new customer, it'll be right here next to the training tab titled SecurityCoach. The first area here is going to be the dashboard, but you wouldn't be able to see this until you've set up some of your integrations, but I already have some set up inside of the demo console currently, and I'll get into that in just a second. First, I want to define a little bit of the terms that we have here shown on the dashboard, as this is kind of going to be an overview of everything that we'll touch on in the following sections. So first is going to be your real-time coaching summary, and this is telling you the percentage of coached users, and you'll see that you're actually coaching a small percentage of the users who are engaging in the risky behavior, but they are accounting for a majority of the risks in your org. Over here, you'll see that I have only 3 active real-time coaching campaigns, but they have also delivered 112 different tips to our users, and you'll see that we had a smooth increase here in terms of the number of tips that are delivered, and then through coaching, those number of events seem to taper out towards the user base. You also see the vendor events summary here, and this is a quick at-a-glance view of all of the events that are coming in over those APIs from the vendors that you've integrated with. And then also you'll see down here the detection rules summary, which are telling you some of the various counts of detection rules that are enabled, and also the number of users that have triggered a detection rule based on the events that are coming in from your connected vendors. So one of the first things that you'll see when you are getting set up here is going to be your security vendor integration screen. And I have configured right now 4 different vendors. So I have 2 email providers, 1 web provider, as well as an endpoint provider here with CrowdStrike. And then you'll notice that we have various other available integrations down here for those of similar types, including a few for Microsoft, as well as Netscope, Okta, and Sophos, to name a few here. But configuration of these is a fairly simple process. The majority of them are just bring your own API key from the configuration, and then you'll be able to actually be on your way to ingesting some of those events. So from here, I'm just going to actually click on, say, like this Cloudflare Area 1 email security integration. And then from there, I'll see that I haven't configured it yet. And all of our integrations come with a quick link out to our documentation on being able to set up maybe the required service account to get those tokens and keys to be able to configure. A lot of this takes only a few minutes to set up. And then from that, you're able to pull data inside of SecurityCoach to be able to start to deliver real-time coaching to your users. So once you've set up your integrations, you'll actually, this will change a little bit here, and you'll be able to review the detection rules that are associated with that vendor. So for CrowdStrike, I'm going to go ahead and review the detection rules that are associated with it. And you can see that we've created a curated list of different events that we can get from the CrowdStrike APIs that are going to relate to end user behavior or risky behavior that we may want to deliver coaching for. So from these here, you can see that we may be looking at some things delivered by adware or remote access software installs that may have been attempted to be installed or stopped or invoked, etc. So we have these different rules here that are going to sit and look for any detections that are coming from the endpoint. And then once they are detected, we will be able to deliver real-time coaching tip to the user to let them know that they shouldn't have engaged in that behavior, or that they're at risk for that behavior since it was stopped by the security product. Even if it was stopped, we do take the stance that the user is more at risk for those types of security events, such as, like, say, phishing. If we are stopping phishing at the email security gateway, but we are seeing a large number of those hit that are being blocked, there is a chance that some can get through. And so from that, we do like to send a tip to the user to let them continuously be aware of the dangers that they may face, even if those security products are in place to protect them. So from that, I'm going to kind of touch a little bit more on the detection rule itself. So here, right here, we've kind of already created this for the scenario is being adware. You can actually come in and customize these to your liking. So if there are particular events inside of the vendor product that you're aware of that you'd like to coach your users on, you can come in here and change your criterion, select exactly some different criteria modifiers, and then add in the string that you'd like to match on. Once you've kind of reviewed some of the different detection rules here, you can turn them on or off. We enable them by default at first when you integrate with your vendor, and that's because it'll allow you to see different things inside of your reports tab here as far as like the rules that are being hit. So I'm looking at the detection rules report, and you'll see the number of events that are coming in, as well as the number of rule detections, and then also it'll break down to those 20 users that are involved that we saw on the dashboard page earlier. We do see the top detection rules that are hit, so it looks like that adware rule that I had picked on earlier is up in the top as far as the user count is concerned, and maybe a few others around copyright infringement, etc., are shown here in these reports. Now that we understand a little bit about how this flow is, we can start to talk a bit about how we are going to coach the users. So when we go into the real-time coaching area here, you're going to see at first we have real-time coaching recommendations that are available for you to get started real easily in terms of the campaigns that you can create. And this is based on the vendors that you've integrated. So all of these rules are coming from the default detection rules that were activated when I configured one or more of my 4 vendors that I've already had set in this account. So you notice that I have a few that are very high risk here at the top, including the data security sharing, phishing, or email safety categories. And I can quickly hit create campaign here. And this will go ahead and put the various detection rules that would be a part of this campaign. So it looks like these have a lot to do with DLP or sharing of files. So maybe we can change the graphic here to review your organization's policies and only share files and data with authorized stakeholders. And you can also customize the messaging here if you'd like as well. And then from that, you can send this message over Slack, Teams, or as a backup over email. We really like to go over the real-time delivery method of Slack or Teams to, in a moment, send a tip to the user. So I guess let me just show you real quick what that would look like when it does show in Teams. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen and move to my Teams account here real quick. So here's one that I sent a little bit earlier before I started recording, but here's one that I had for sharing files, be secure, and I just edited some of this text here to send over this security tip graphic. So in the moment, that user will be coached, let them know that we have detected that and to think before you share. Looks like there's some demo text in there too. All right, cool. I will stop sharing this and go back into the main console. But yeah, that is exactly how you would see that message inside of Teams, or if you were on Slack, it would be a very similar type of concept. Let me go back into the console here. All right. So very easy way for you to get started by using our recommendations. So you can, once you've created the campaign, come in here and actually take a look at some of the results from that. So I'm going to go ahead and look at the password safety coaching campaign. And here we can see that this has hit 36 different users, one of which has been coached multiple times. And then also the number of security tips that have been delivered. So of those, there have been 39 security tips that are delivered. I can also go ahead and hit view details, and that'll break me out into another report for the real-time coaching activity. And so this is inside of the report section as well, but this will show the status of the message, whether it was delivered, if it failed for some reason, or if it was sent over Slack or Teams. You can also change the various columns here if you'd like to add more information in this report. Like most of our reports, you can also save this report. So if you wanted to come in here for a particular date range and save that report or schedule it to be sent out, you could also do that as well with our saved and schedule send feature inside of CAMSAT already. So back into the Security Coach tab, though, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at some of the different security tips that we have available for you to send out to your users. So I'm going to head into the security tips area here. And then from that, I'm going to load the various graphics that we have available. So you'll see that you can choose from the various topics that we have, and these are going to correspond to some of the different detection rules that you may trigger based on the integrations that you have set. We are also localized as well, so we do have various different localizations for the security tips. So you can set those, and based on your user's preferred language inside of the CAMSAT console, we will send a localized tip and also notification to the user to send the same information with the same type of graphic, just to convey that real-time coaching. All right, so if I go through here and I preview a few of these, you can see that some of these might have to do with email safety and data privacy. And if I want to preview that, I can go ahead and do that here, as well as look at some of the different language options that are available. So here is that message in Dutch. I don't read Dutch, so that would be cool if I could, but let's see if we could do something else too here. Let's go into maybe a Vietnamese style of the template. So you can preview any of the languages that are inside of here, and then from that, you create a campaign. If you think that this meets your needs, you can pick the various different detection rules. Maybe we're looking at bulk forwarding of email being detected. So we should go ahead and select that there, and then I can actually choose the type of top notification template. And then we also have the ability to limit to 1 security tip per day. So this is a way for you to limit the number of times that you send out to a given user. If they were to trigger this detection rule more than once in the 24-hour period, they're not going to get that message multiple times. So then I could hit create campaign, and then now this is already ready to roll, and we'll start sending out messages to users who do hit that detection rule. All right, so now that we've kind of hit a lot of the areas that we covered here on the dashboard, I think that we can jump into some of the different reports that are available here. Some of these will also be available inside of the preview mode. So once you integrate your vendor, if you are in just regular old preview mode, you will be able to see a lot of these reports are already filled out, because we will try to pull historical data for a majority of the vendors that we integrate with, so you can see an accurate picture of just how much risk you might be missing in terms of coaching in your organization. So here I'm going to go ahead and view the risk report for all of my security vendors here, and we'll see that I have a total of around 5,000 events, and 55 is my average number of events per day, but this is coming from 24 different threat categories, and I only have 4 active integrations. So we can see here also a breakdown of where my events seem to be coming from. So I have a lot that are coming from Zscaler here. It seems like we had a big hit around the 11th of January. But yeah, so this is where you'd be able to see this even in preview mode. And then if I go into here, we have this broken down by different type of vendors. So endpoint security vendors, email, as well as web. If I go into the email security vendor report here, we can see the risk report for various things like phishing, email reported by user as malware or phish, just a few different types of threat categories that we may be detecting on with our detection rules to go ahead and coach those users here. You also see the different distribution, and I kind of hinted at this earlier when we were on the dashboard page, but as you select a percent of users, you notice that 5% of my users are linked to almost 73% of my email threats. And so that's really what we're after here with our coaching tips, is that we're targeting the specific users that appear to be violating the policies that are already set inside of our security stack and our different security tools. And if we coach these users, as we continue to decrease the percentage of users, you realize that you're going to, over time, see that your email threats are going to go down as well, just based on those users becoming more aware and also caring more about changing their behavior because they're aware that you are detecting on it, and also conveying the message that security should be top of mind and various policies are going to be enforced if they don't follow those particular rules while on an organization's system. All right, I guess one of the last things that I'm going to take a look at here is going to be the real-time coaching report. And then I'll go ahead and take some questions because I see there are some here in the chat. But yeah, on the real-time coaching report, we're going to just see an overview of the overall events, of tips, of count of events that are happening, as well as the number of tips that are delivered here in this breakdown. And these are based on campaign, as well as a breakdown of the various groups that are being coached, so you can see any trends there. And also the top 10 coached users are also going to be displayed in this report. And you can customize the time frame of this too. So if you come in here and look at this, maybe on a weekly basis, you can take a look at that. Looks like in my demo console, I don't have data populated for that though. So we'll take it to the last month and show some of this. All right, so I do see some questions in the chat around if I'm able to coach a specific group. So yes, you can. So inside of a coaching campaign, you can actually come in here and edit one of these to be a specific group and based on criteria. So you'll see that the select criteria, if anybody is familiar with our Smart Groups functionality, it's a very similar criterion picker, or you can come in and choose something like a user field, and maybe we're looking at a particular division, and then this division must be equal to, let's say, accounting. So then there from that, we're able to actually add onto this, the division must be equal to accounting. And now even though the detection rule is triggered, if this user field isn't met, then we wouldn't send the tip to the user because they don't match all of the criterion. And of course, we do have a lot of different criteria to choose from. As you can see here, this is just from the user field area. Let me just hit cancel on this. And then there are some too for like, if you've already trained a user on a particular behavior and they're engaging in that behavior, we can kind of take it one step further as like an escalatory type of thing. So if this user had been enrolled in, say, some type of an assignment around passwords, and then we do see that they are triggering a password safety coaching tip to be delivered, this would allow us to target to only those users that had received those trainings. You can also take that on the converse. I did see that in the chat as well, of being able to escalate from coaching to training. And that would be done just as a regular smart group criterion. So we do have smart groups as well inside of the platform. And so if we go into one of these here, I'm just going to edit one that already exists in my demo console here, but not save it. So if I come in here and I actually look at some of these around real-time coaching, and I say that the user has visited prohibited websites more than 4 times in the last 6 months, I'll be able to get that group of users here. And then from that, I can enroll them into a training campaign, whether that include an acceptable use policy or an internet use policy, you name it, you could assign it inside of that training campaign, just like you normally would inside of our KMSAT console. All right, so heading back into the SecurityCoach area here, someone else said they wanted to see the customization of detection rules once more, so I can actually touch on that. So if I take a look at some of these here and I go into this one for Gmail, I can actually see what we are hitting on. So it looks like this is threat category is equal to email forwarding out of domain. And so that is what we would be looking for in the event that comes over from the vendor. And that is how you would add some different things here. So if you were looking for particular alert type or file type that's also being a part of that alert, then you could also add that there, as long as it's inside of the event that's coming over from the vendor. That's where all of our information is coming from. So that's why we have already honed in on the particular events that you should be looking for based on those APIs and what you can coach users on from our catalog of security tips. All right, I think that about wraps it up for me here. I guess just take it from the top one last time. Really, you would have your setup from your integrations, and then from your integrations, you'll have detection rules that are able to trigger on the risky behavior that's coming over from those vendors. And then through real-time coaching, you'll be able to deliver a security tip to your users to let them know that, yes, we are judging them for reusing their passwords if they are. So yeah, that is our demo, and that is our product, SecurityCoach. Once again, my name is Jeffrey Jelinas. I'm with the product management team here at KnowBe4, and thanks for watching.
All right. So I guess judging isn't always a bad thing, is it? I love that last slide with the cat. Thanks so much, Jeffrey, for that awesome demo and your insights in the Q&A. It is just so important to remember that your employees are still the number one way that the bad guys get into your systems. And educating them goes a long way toward locking down your operations and staying safe. So now we just threw up a poll question. We want to ask you one simple question. Given what you've seen today, given this demo, what else would you like to know about KnowBe4? Vote now for one of these three choices. I don't know about you, but I love simple polls. Before we wrap up, though, we do have one more piece of business while you continue voting, and that is the Amazon gift card prize drawing. Remember, as I mentioned before, that you do have to be present for the whole event to be eligible for the prize. And the winner of the $250 Amazon gift card is Diane Kimberling from Illinois. Congratulations, Diane. We'll be in touch with you very soon to get you your card. All right. And with that, that's a wrap for today. And on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank KnowBe4 and Jeffrey for making this event possible and for the fantastic demo and for all the knowledge that we're going to leave here with. And thank you, the attendees, as always, for being here with us and for all of your great questions. That concludes today's event. Have a great rest of your day.